tuning in to Tackling Tomfoolery. I'm Malika Rogers.
I'm Francie Moore.
And I'm A.M. Lewis.
Hey. Happy hump day. So, I'm going to go right into it like a professional. I am just like kind of Jaffe Walt would do. But anyway, I got a bracelet and everything. What would Heine? I guess we will get started with some highs and lows.
Checking out the fellas, the highs and lows.
Brandy, you have highs.
I do have highs and lows. So my low is 74 seconds. I started listening to it today. It is the NPR podcast from some Minneapolis station in some Minnesota station. It might not be Minneapolis, but anyway, it's about Philando Castile, his life, his death, the trial, etc. And I think it was just a straw that broke the camel's back. I started listening to it today at work because I was going to otherwise fall asleep. And clearly I didn't fall asleep. But I just felt really overwhelmed by, I don't know, I guess just the unfairness of it all. This idea of the model case, which he in fact was, and then sort of the brief triumph over the indictment. And then whatever. It was just, it all brought me to the place where I realized that I'm now stuck between wanting to be really loving in a strident and demanding kind of way, in the way that I think is probably me being my best self. But then it also makes me want to just be really hostile because I just feel mad, and I kind of feel done with the whole thing. Like I feel in a way that I haven't in a long time. And I think this 74 seconds just sort of cracked that open, and it made me realize how frustrated I am. And I feel like I've expressed this in pieces over the course of the last couple of weeks, but it's like, just, dude, white allies, be allies. Don't ask me for congratulations or Malika to cook you cookies. Like just do the right thing because it's the right thing. So,
right. Thank you.
Right.
Ooh, my nerves are so bad behind that idea of there being expectation of thanks for being an ally. Nobody should have to thank you. That's just part of being a decent human being. Why does anyone have to thank you for that? Nobody should have to. And if your expectation is for thank you, that means you're not doing it because that's who you are and that's what you're about and that's what you know to be right. You're doing it because you think you're doing me a favor. Well, I could just be over here doing all these other things like all these other people, but instead I've stopped to help your poor little black ass. And now thank you. Now I know that you're disingenuous because you're only doing it, you can look a certain way, and so you can hear certain kudos from other people about what you're doing. I don't have time for it. I'm not here for it. And I understand trying purposely loving, because that feels so much better than the ongoing rage and whatnot. But man, I am learning to real okay with my rage. That's where I am right now. I'm resting in my rage, and I don't feel bad about it because I'm owed it. I'm entitled to this shit. I get to be pissed off. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I didn't interrupt your hype.
No. I totally get it. And I think I feel like I have an appreciation for how difficult it is to be white or white appearing in a white space. And I feel like feeling like you have the mantle of, justice, like it's a hard road to hoe. I get it. And I'm not diminishing it. because it is really hard. And I think everybody needs support, right? So you need to have people who will support you in that effort. I'm not saying it can never be me. I'm just saying it can't always be me. And I do think there are people who want to differentiate themselves. They want to say, well, look how I'm not like that. But I feel like all of us, and I truly mean all of us, we all struggle with having to separate ourselves from what we've learned. And whatever, it's just too much. But anyway, so that was my low, feeling and all of that. 74 seconds. But it also bridged me to my high. There was a guy who was Philando's friend. His name is John Thompson, and he talks about how he is now an activist and he wishes that he had not had to take up this life. He talks about how much easier being John Thompson was, but now he feels obligated to do this thing that is a much harder life. And so that made me think about Who's Streets, which I saw a while ago, but I don't think I talked about it on the show. And I think we don't get to see like Black men. I mean, there were Black men and Black women, but sort of working together in a really loving and compassionate way, like working really hard. And that's about Ferguson, both in the Mike Brown protest stages and then after the cameras all left. And I just had to kind of celebrate that because you don't get to see it. And it's nice to get that chance. So that's sort of 74 seconds brought me back to that retrospective high. So those were my highs and lows.
I don't know if I'll be able to watch that anytime soon, but I did hear that young man interviewed on NPR fairly recently.
Yeah.
And it was a very compelling interview, and it was a little painful to hear it at times, but the end result, as far as him being inspired, an activist, I thought was dope.
Yeah, I heard it too. And I feel similarly. I don't know if I'm going to. The Philando Castile thing still feels fresh. The resolution of it, so to speak, was, I guess, as we pretty much figured it would be, but hoped it wouldn't be. I just don't have the space. I don't have this space right now. And sometimes I feel like it's my responsibility. Like I feel obligated to watch things like or listen to things like that. But at this current time, there's so much going on. I don't feel obligated to anything. I feel obligated to my well-being and my emotional state, which isn't necessarily going to allow me at this juncture to keep taking in tragedy after tragedy and injustice after injustice or rehashing it. I don't have it right now. It sounds compelling, but I cannot do it. I can't.
I still haven't recovered from Khalif Browder, so I've already been sad for like, I don't know, and pissed off for almost 3 years now. So
I watched the documentary about, is it a 3-parter, 2-parter about his family.
I can't.
Ooh-wee.
Shout out to Jay-Z, but no, I cannot. I can't read, think about, see something about him without bursting into tears. And I'm not sure why his particular story moves differently from, I can't say it affects me more. It just gets an emotional response from me that's different from everyone else. And I don't know why that is. But and I think ever then I've been particularly done. And then it just getting piled on. And anyway.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I saw Crown Heights and it wasn't a particularly good movie cinematically, but just watching and thinking, my God, I don't even know if I have that, like what it takes to be innocent and in jail all those years. I mean, I think I might have been a, felon.
Yeah. Ooh. So, AM.
Yes,
have highs and lows.
I do. None of them that deep on purpose, neither. So not deep. My high last week was I went to the mothership known as Target one day at lunch. And as one does, I went for nothing frivolous, but I found a dress for $8.98.
Hello.
Perfect little it's a long summer dress, but could transition, in the fall. $8.98. I told you. And it's so cute. And that made my whole everything happy because I do love a fetching dress at a low, low price. That was that wasn't necessarily the best high, but it was a high. It made me really happy. My low was Tuesday because it was Tuesday and I had to go back to work. And, a 3-day weekend is such a lovely thing. And mine was good. It was just the right balance of doing nothing and doing something. And I really didn't want it to be over. And yet it was on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning was a low for a girl because the real world came crashing back. That is all.
I spent most of my day morning sitting at my desk just staring. The work was in front of me and I could not really get it together. I was supposed to be doing like three different things before the end of the day, and I did half of one of those things.
I did go to Trader Joe's for desk snacks on Tuesday. That's always a happy time.
Well, that is an accomplishment.
It is. I got desk snacks and I bought myself some flowers. So, I made the most out of the Tuesday. But
we're doing something while I was at my desk just staring.
Just staring? Well, yeah.
Staring. So sad. So, my low, and I think because I'm already feeling, annoyed enough, so I'm gonna make this real brief. And I know we already all know Jason Whitlock is not worth 2 dead flies. You already know that. But more than his latest Twitter pictures where he hired what appears to be a white man to put on an afro wig and a black glove with his fist in the air to represent CAP and to represent the protest at the Olympics. More than that, it's just the idea of trying to humiliate, disrespect, and minimize Kaepernick and anyone else really has who feels he or she has purpose when it comes to activism and when it comes especially to speaking for people who don't always have a voice for themselves. So, from jump on this podcast, coons and toms, sellouts, and all of that, and one of the things I said in defining such a person is I felt like what that person is doing kind of has to be harmful. It has to be damaging in some kind of way. And he's that. Jason Whitlock is that. And Ray Lewis is that. They're damaging, not because they disagree with Cap methods. That's okay. They don't have to agree with him. Maybe they do things differently, and that's okay. It's the disrespect and the disdain, and they're trying so hard to be white aligned and to look a certain way in front of Mr. Charlie that they will throw any black person under the bus to look good in front of whatever white guy or woman, well, really white guy, they think is who they need to dance hardest for. And I'm sick of it. I can't. Ugh. If there was ever a need for somebody to get not even their ass, if there was ever a need for somebody to get their ass,
Yes.
it's that fool right there and Ray Lewis. Oh,
I just wanted to be in an elevator with Shannon. That's all.
An
oh,
elevator.
I'd like to be in an elevator with Shannon.
Wouldn't we all?
Listen, I want to be in a
I don't wanna
room
beat
with
up, though.
soft surfaces with Shannon so that we may lay next to each other. Okay.
Just like Raphael said.
Okay.
Oh, or that.
Or lady lay, or lay your head on my pillow. Any of those, anything
Any of it.
anything
Any of it.
Dwell lay it down. Any of those things.
Love her lay down. That's what Dave Matthews said. Okay.
But
Whoever.
not Lay's potato chips because
Nope.
that's noisy and salty and greasy and we don't need that.
That's not Shannon.
I can't eat just one.
Oh, well, then that's a fair point. I might have to. But anyway, my high, real simple. And I had a challenging holiday weekend. It was supposed to be fun, but it was, there was some fun in it, but it was mostly challenging. But one of the highs was I binged on The Tick. I missed The Tick. I loved the cartoon back in the day. Then I watched live action with Warburton, and I liked that too. And when it wasn't on anymore, I was sad. And so then when I was like, oh, it's back yet again, let me try it out. So I did, and I had fun watching it. I didn't like it like I liked the old live action Tick, but I still liked watching it. I don't know, the Tick's just so ridiculous. I think that's why I had a good time. But it did make me like, can they bring back the critic too?
The critic.
Gosh, that was my shit. Bring that.
I've only seen that a couple of times, but I know when I did, it was hilarious.
Oh, I missed it. It was so witty and funny. But anyway, so yeah, The Tick was my high.
Hey, fellow tacklers. We thank you so much for listening to our show. If you're interested in supporting us, we would be ever so grateful. You can donate to the Tackling Tomfoolery podcast at patreon.com/Tackling Tomfoolery.
So, getting into our main topic, was it yesterday or the day before? What is the day again? This is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Monday was it when 45.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Oh, yeah, that was
yesterday. It was yesterday. Yeah, I'm so mixed up. Yesterday, 45 said that he has intentions. He's going to go ahead and rescind the DACA Act and order. And he's going to give people like 6 months to, I don't know what, get right with God or I don't know, come to Jesus. 6 months to pack their stuff or to fulfill whatever dreams they may have had for their entire lives, or just go ahead and turn those dreams in for nightmares because he doesn't want your undocumented ass over here anymore. According to him, or what he said after sending it, implied, I'm just giving a chance for Congress to make some real laws, make some real immigration reform, and pass something so that if they want to keep these dreamers, they can, but they have to figure it out themselves. But I'm not going to go anymore with this executive order that Obama put in, really just because Obama put it in. And I hate him, and my goal is to undo everything he ever did, even if Obama had made an executive order so that the sun would shine brighter and longer each day. He'd find a way to ruin that. If Obama signed something to keep everybody's teeth in their mouth and keep them white, he would undo that because He just hates him and wants to undo everything, including any benefit to undocumented people who were brought here as children of no choice of their own. So, anyway, we are talking, I guess, the demolishing of DACA as we know it at this time, and sort of just our ideas about undocumented folks. Um, what would we do if we had the power to do anything um, regarding laws, protect those people? And I think I'm going to start off by saying, um, as a kid, for me, I was uh, just pretty much prone to what I heard on the news, right? What I heard, what I read, what other grown ups said. So when I was a kid, it was illegal aliens. That was the word, right? And there was all this talk about how bad they are and they're breaking the law by being here and they just cross the border and cause all kinds of problems and raise all kind of ruckus and we must stop. So when I was little, I just assumed, well, these people were bad because what are they doing here and they shouldn't be here. And I thought nothing else of it because I was a child. As I got a little bit older and could see things for myself, for my own opinions, then I was like, wait a minute. I see a bunch of people who people are describing as legal aliens, and they are working. Well, and not just working, but working hard, and they're doing stuff that nobody I know wants to do. So it doesn't look like they're taking anything from anybody. So something is wrong with what I've been told as a kid, right? And then I don't know, probably over the past 10 years or so, I was like, oh, wait, hold the hell on. If y'all don't leave these people alone, not because I don't understand law or I don't understand there can be problems when laws are broken, but I had to really think to beginning and the fact this is a country founded on illegal immigration. That's what this whole country was founded on. A bunch of people came to somebody else's shit, killed everybody, raped whoever they didn't kill, um, gave people diseases, introduced them to alcoholism and drug addiction, enslaved other folks, used their labor to toil the land they stole, wrote a constitution and was like, ha ha, it's our shit now. And then voila, here we are today. And I look at it in terms of, starting a relationship with someone who was in a marriage, and then you spend the whole time you're with that person worried that he or she might be cheating on you like they cheated on the other person. So the shit never goes well because it didn't start right. And that's this country for me. It didn't start right. I don't know what the expectation is when it comes to immigration, but if you don't start something right, it ain't gonna never be right to me. And then you want people to leave who was here before your ass got here. So anyway, leave people alone. That's just how I feel in a nutshell. I don't know what exactly I didn't act. We'll talk about that later, but yeah, over time I certainly have evolved in my ideas, thoughts about undocumented people, and um, I'm so disgusted by this fool saying, I'm just rescinding this and leaving it up to Congress when I know good damn well it's not about leaving it up to Congress. You really want all the Mexican people to leave. Let's talk about that because there's a whole lot of people here who are undocumented and they're white, but ain't nobody talking about that. But okay, anyway, so have either of you have had an experience with your ideas about undocumented people and immigration reform? Have you had like an evolution in your thinking about that over time, or have you always felt a certain way?
I've always felt like leave those people alone and let them do what they do. And that's only sharpened over time as I've learned, a little bit, like undocumented people still pay taxes. Sometimes they have illicit, phony social security cards or whatever, but they still pay taxes. And it is the tax monies that they pay taxes to the point where their tax money is a huge chunk of what is keeping Social Security afloat. They stimulate the economy with jobs and the money they put back into it. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, that has only increased, my initial feeling of, I want to let these people do what they do, because I don't remember my parents talking or having any, 2 cents about immigrants, illegal immigrants. And I can remember them talking about a lot of things, but that was not one of them. I do remember, which is interesting to me, I just remember it vaguely. I remember when Cesar Chavez led the strike, the migrant workers to strike. And there weren't no damn table grapes because they weren't picking the grapes. I remember that very vaguely, but that's it. I just feel like, if obviously there's an issue with the immigration system. People aren't just coming over here without going through the proper channels because they don't feel like it.
Right.
It is complex and challenging and expensive. And I suppose, first of all, if I was in power, there's no way I would have let DACA expire in 6. I wouldn't have done that. What I would be doing, and whatever was my capacity to do so, is trying to really press on some form of immigration reform at whatever level possible, because it is so it's just so complex that I don't think that there's an easy fix. Obviously, I feel like if they were, they're, at least for the sake of all of the good white people that come through this country that we want, they would have fixed it or something by now. Yeah, given that, and in the case of DACA, I feel like it's so unfair because we're talking about people who didn't come here. Right. They were brought here. Right. If no one else gets a chance, if we're just going to be like, listen, y'all know there's a process. You didn't undertake it. Get out. If there's going to be a caveat for that for anybody, it ought to be these people. They had no say-so, no choice. For the most part, they don't have roots in wherever. They don't have family and history and familiarity with their country of origin. They came here as kids. They've been here all their lives. They're in college, or they already have college degrees and they're working people. They have family. These aren't the bad hombres that 45 talked about, in his speech. They have to, and the really sad part about it to me is, you have to register, you have to sign up for DACA. So these people unknowingly put themselves on a list. Yes. Yep. They put a target on so when this thing elapses, if it elapses and there's no fix to it, they're easily identifiable for deportation. What are we talking about? 300,000 people? Was it more than that? I feel like it's more than that. 800, yeah. Oh. So boom, just like that, like some kind of illegal alien rapture, kapow, they're just gonna get sucked up and gone?
Swept away.
How is that? Thank you, Kirk Cameron.
There's just so much about it that is wrong to me, and it's hurtful, and I really do feel like, motherfuckers can get it twisted and look the other way if they want to, but these brown people are systematically getting fucked over. First it was the Muslims, now it's the Mexicans. You think it's not gonna be us next? You think there's not gonna be some kind of way we gonna get fucked up? There's gonna be some kind of way. Hey, it's gonna
Well,
happen.
And it's already been us. It's been us. It's always been us too.
Well, yes, but it's gonna be renewed.
They just use different
Us.
methods to get at us,
Mhm.
where they're not necessarily sending us back somewhere, which they wouldn't even know where to send us anyway, and we
No,
wouldn't be able to
we
tell them.
wouldn't. You'd be like, I don't know,
I
shit.
have no idea, fool. I'm from
Mhm.
Greensboro. I don't know, but
Right.
I think, but they are finding ways to send us somewhere, and that's a grave or a prison.
I was gonna say,
Shit, they gonna make some shit up to put your black ass in there.
Like
And
they did post-slavery.
that's right. And you won't have anything to say about it. They tucked away the indigenous people on reservations under the guise of, look at all this land we gave you. Y'all wasn't gifting them land. You were finding somewhere for them to be so they'd shut up. It's the
Have you
same
ever
with
been
that.
on a reservation?
God, no, on purpose.
Oh
That
man.
sounds so elitist. I don't mean it like that. I just mean because just the concept of them bothers me so much that I don't want.
I've been on one once. It was on my way from Colorado here, and I can't remember what state we were in, but man, I don't remember what state we were in, but I remember the feeling very, very, very clearly. It was the most desolate, feeling and looking place I think I've ever been. And they had like a rest stop, with the snacks and tchotchkes and whatnot. It just was bad. It was just bad.
I saw Wind River, which I'm not saying it didn't have its problems, but in it, there's a scene where this man has painted his own death mask, and the Jeremy Renner character kind of is joking with him. He said, "How did you even know how to do that?" And he says, and the indigenous guy goes, "Well, I made it up. There's no one left to teach me." And I think that really is sort of like the connective thread to me between these pockets of paucity that these rollbacks are creating. I mean, both of you guys were talking about, yeah, okay, so it's not like we're going to Marcus Garvey you and ship you off to Liberia, but there are very distinct plans for rolling back. I just read Betsy's rolling back Title IX, and we're talking about implementing the longest prison sentences. That's Jeff Sessions, handiwork. All of these things enacted, making it impossible to what did I just something about labor unions I just read. I mean, all of those things sort of indirectly affect us because we are low earners, as statistically. But I think for me, start kind of diving back into the DACA business, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense politically. So it's not like he's even trying to leverage this for his stupid wall. It doesn't make sense financially because dreamers make money and to your earlier point, AM, promote growth and add to Social Security because they're working or in college. I heard the statistics something like 30% of them have credit cards and, some sort of, revolving debt or debt, period. Many of them have jobs, it like
Homes.
doesn't, yes,
Own businesses and employ other people.
Right. It doesn't make any sense any way you slice it. And yes, I'm all for immigration reform that makes sense. And I think that that will never happen as long like our vision of immigrant right now has nothing to do with Indian folks who work at, in Silicon Valley or German or Russian folks who work in Silicon Valley. Like we're not thinking about those people. So not we're, but Fox News America is not thinking about those people. They're not thinking about all of the people who also, like Mexican immigration is only 50% of the illegal undocumented status, folks with undocumented status. So you've got a whole other people like my sister's ex-husband, who was not a dreamer, let's just say it anyway.
Or a dream.
Yeah. Or a dream. But the point really is the pileup of folks who have and sorry, one more thing I want to say is remember that this is an executive order because Congress couldn't get it together to make something happen. That is why, and everyone tries to talk about it like Obama superseded law, and it's like this is something needed to happen. He tried very hard to make it happen, and Congress, we know, was non-responsive, and so he made a choice to enact this. And yes, were we always going to have to revisit it? Yes, but to me, Trump is only witnessing to his lower base of support. I mean, they're all low. His existing base of support are all, people who are the lowest common denominator. But that's all that this is. And to me, even if you are like a regular run-of-the-mill person who's not that invested in politics, you have to know this is totally and completely wrong and insane. Mm-hmm. And terrible for the country, I might add. Expensive for the country, I might add.
How much would it cost, I want to know, to send everyone, and this is another thing where it's just almost as ridiculous as it would be for trying to send all the Black people back to a place that we don't even know. So we wouldn't even know where to be sent. And a lot of these people, they might know where their parents are from, but most of them have never even been to that place. So you don't send me back to a place that I don't know anything about and maybe have never even seen before. And how much is it going to cost for you to send me there? What is the price for you to send 800,000 people somewhere? How much does that cost?
Right.
Well, I just read, and I'm going to Google because I want to get it right, but that someone who was in the administration came directly from private prisons. Mm-hmm. And somebody was pointing out that, all of these private prisons who have these arrangements with ICE have this minimum requirement. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that adds a whole new sinister layer and element. And you knew that there had to be some sort of kickback and money involved, but I hadn't even thought about it in those terms.
I've always wondered, what's the cost? So not only the cost to, the economy in this country, and what we lost 800,000 people, the majority of whom are employed, right, and contributing to society in some type of way. So we lose that, and then we lose money spending wherever we be. And it just seems like it would cost way more than it would be worth. But I guess if you're a big enough bigot, you don't care how much it costs. You want it. So at this point, I mean, obviously, he's left it at the feet of Congress, and that's nothing viable has ever happened with them regarding reforming immigration or protecting, dreamer type. What would you do if you were in the position to actually create some kind of change, actually make some kind of law? How would you approach it?
I have no idea. I feel like in order to have an educated answer to that, I need some depth in some areas that I just don't have depth in. The legalities. I would need to know more about the immigration system as it currently exists. I would need to know what the challenges are that prevent people, the specific challenges, aside from financial, that prevent people from successfully navigating through it on a regular basis. Because let's face it, nobody wants to live here for years and years looking over their shoulder. So there's something like, what is it? My first step would be to get a full understanding of what the obstacles are. I would want to be in the community and talk to people, listen to them, give me firsthand accounts of what they've experienced or what their fears are. That would be my first step. And then go from there, use that information and try to format a plan, you know, and talk with my people and fucking reach across the motherfucking aisle. For God's sake. For a change.
So hard.
I mean,
I think, one of the things I've always wondered is, we know people will say, oh, I came here for, opportunity, educational opportunity, or professional opportunity, maybe opportunity to purchase a home, maybe opportunity to make more money that I can send back to wherever my home country is. I hear all of those stories all of the time from people, but I've always wondered, why has there never been an approach to help where the people came from? So maybe they wouldn't have to work so hard to run away, to cross a border, to almost die a lot of the time just to get here. What's happening at home, and what can this country do to counteract that, so people don't have to feel like they have to get the hell out of there? A lot of people are running for their lives, and I'm like, well, never mind. I guess I don't really have to ask why we aren't doing anything. If there's no drugs or oil or whatever, then we don't give a damn. So,
and let's not forget that we need a huge chunk of the folks who come so that our country will run the way that it runs. I mean, the president himself tried to get people so they could work at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, people, industries depend on folks, and I think that it's possible. I'm sorry, I think I interrupted and cut you off, and I'm gonna stop. But we depend on them.
Yep. You're right. I don't know. Everything, it seems like so many things will come to a screeching halt if, say, this 6-month period ended and he sticks to what he says, and now everybody go back, and more than likely these people's parents, if their parents are still here, and obviously their parents are undocumented, right? And so they're not going to be like, well, we'll stay and go on back, baby. So most likely everybody's going back, even people who haven't been caught, so to speak, or whatever. They're going to leave because they're going to go where their babies are going. And so we're looking at not just losing the people who are operating under DACA that we know of. We're talking about all the people who are in their family who haven't applied for DACA protection. That's scary to me. That would cripple the economy. It would anyway.
And can you imagine having it hanging over your head? Can you imagine being one of those people who has a whole life here that they are now going to have to contemplate surrendering? But I did just want to say that I read an article not too long ago about how I think Durbin is trying to resurrect the DREAM Act and get it passed. And someone was saying, someone who knows much better than I am, as I'm not a political analyst, to quote some people I know, that if they can add riders onto the Harvey financing that legislation that's going to happen, then that can help sort of cement and kind of pave the way for there to be something official enacted. And I think of all of the takes on this I've read, to me, those are the best bets, where you have something to leverage, because just about everybody agrees. I mean, I think that the polls are outrageously positive for the American people in terms of everybody saying this is dumb and these folks shouldn't have to go back. And so I think even though there could be some political fallout, the people are for, a solution that doesn't involve mass deportation.
Right.
It feels surreal to me. I just cannot imagine what the reality, like what is that going to look like? How is it going to happen? I cannot fathom. Go knocking on people's doors and snatching folks up with the handcuffs, putting them on buses and planes and whatnot. I mean, and how do they determine where they go? They just gonna take them across the border and be like, all right, now out.
Right.
How what about the people that don't have a home to pinpoint, right? What if they don't have a place to go specifically?
Maybe no family there. Yeah.
What are they supposed to do? Oh, and these are all young people on top of it all. Young people. We're not even talking about maybe somebody leathery and, my age who's like, shit, I don't know, I'll figure it out. This is fuckery, but, I've been through a thing or two. I'm resourceful. Not to say that young people can't be resourceful, but they don't even have a whole lot of life experience behind them, is my point.
Right.
What about people who don't speak the languages of their home countries?
Yes. They just suppose, and it's so infuriating to me. And to listen to people be like, they're illegal. They have to go breaking the law. They have to go. What is wrong? Every day I ask myself, what is wrong with people and why are they empty inside? Where are their hearts? Where is their compassion? What and why have people always been like this? And I just didn't know. They don't want to pay for anybody's health care. They don't care about your situation. If you were brought over here, you just got to go. They don't want any social programs. They don't want to raise the minimum wage. They just don't. Everybody should fend for themselves. And I don't know. It just is so dispiriting to me. And it's abject fuckery. It just is. At its abjectest and fuckeriest. How about that?
And I'm so I'm bothered by the divisive language and action where all these attempts to vilify everyone, and not even everyone, vilify Mexicans, because if we let this administration tell it, only Mexican people are here and are not documented.
Right.
Not anyone else, just Mexicans. Damn them. They must be stopped. Even when 45 was campaigning, he was saying, well, I want people here, young people here, to be dreamers. We hear all this talk about dreamers, and it's always someone from somewhere else. What about the people here? The young people here don't have a chance to dream. They don't dream anymore. And I thought,
who says?
Who the fuck have you been talking to where you think people here don't dream? But then he took it a step further and was like, look at Black people and young Black people and the way they suffer and their unemployment rates, and they don't have any dreams. So
you don't try to pit us against the Mexicans, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Really?
Wanted to go ahead and create this imaginary tension, like Black people were listening to him anyway.
Okay.
But still, there's a few dummies, but for the most part, we're not checking for that fool. So,
what's his name? Ray Lewis?
There might
Jim Brown.
There might be like 15 of them.
Okay.
So,
that sounds right.
But for the most part, we're not listening to that man. We're not checking for him. We didn't care what he said. But I resented the fact that he even tried it. The fact that you tried to slide in here and try to pit us against the Mexican people, especially ones who are undocumented, as if they've taken anything from us. Those people haven't done shit to us.
Right.
Your ass is the one doing something to us. Those people haven't done shit to me, but sell me delicious fruit and pastries
and senorita bread, okay,
and make music that I like. Did you say senorita bread?
Yes, I did.
That is not Mexican. That's Filipino, but that's okay.
Oh, it is.
I'm still too fast. It's okay. I mean, it is.
I really did think it was Mexican. I've never bought it. I've only ever eaten it.
It's misleading because senorita bread. I can totally understand, but no. But still, they make delicious food. They work hella hard. They have businesses that I patronize. they work just like I get up and go to work. They get up and go to work. And those people are some of the hardest working people I've ever seen. Because you will not catch my Americanized ass getting up at 3 in the morning, or as my mom would say, before day in the morning, to pick something, and then sell it, and then stand out in the heat all day, and then probably stop doing that to go to another job, and then maybe one more job after that. No, my life is not cut out like that. But people always want to talk about they're lazy. Those people are not lazy. I've never seen anybody work harder.
Do people say that? Because I don't know.
Yes, that's like a stereotype. They're lazy. They just want something for nothing. They just want to be here without putting anything in. I'm like, these people bust their asses from whatever. Anyway,
you guys ever see that Morgan Spurlock show where he goes out and tries to pick the oranges and he's the only white one and he can barely make it through the day? I think he ends up doing it for a week and all of the people there are like, bruh, you are the worst.
Anyway. I didn't see that. I know the show you're talking about. I haven't seen that though.
I don't.
I just want to say this real quick about breaking the law. And that is, are you telling me that Congress is going to is going to take into consideration? Because I feel like if we went through the rap sheet there, we would be overwhelmed. Not to mention all these people who are online e-thugging about people breaking laws. And it's like, oh, what? Your DUI, you think, is less of a law breaker than somebody who was just born here and maybe didn't even know?
Right.
And I would also like to point out that if somebody was talking about, oh, you just want something for nothing. We were talking about that earlier, but we don't mind when these we are doing all of this stuff to get tax breaks to businesses. And we don't mind that Apple and, Google, the biggest, big, huge companies are not paying the taxes they should pay now. And we want to cut them tax breaks. But we can't have these people in the country. It makes me crazy.
That's savvy business. What they're doing.
Oh, right. Savvy business. Yeah, okay. I do just want to add this, that I was reading about the Iraqi Catholics or Christian community, and that are, that many of them voted for Trump, and they're now being deported. And that to me, the place where I'm like, well, you should not be being deported. And I don't support the deportation because it's wrong across the board. But I am kind of like, well, if you have to start somewhere, maybe there's the place to start.
Okay.
Is that wrong?
Right. I don't even know. I a couple of years ago, I was like, let's Google to find out what the path to citizenship is. How does one become a U.S. citizen? So I Googled how to become a U.S. citizen, right? And then, I went to whatever the hell website, I don't remember. And I read for about 10 minutes. My eyes started to cross because there were so many things in there and I didn't quite understand all the steps. And then it was like a whole bunch of if this, then that. And if you don't have this, then you need to have that. And if not here, then there. And if not her, then him. And I literally got mad and closed the website up and gave up.
I had the same experience.
And I am a damn citizen. And the shit was so exhausting to me. And I was like, if I'm having trouble understanding this, and this is where I'm from, I can't imagine the struggle of someone from another country, and and everything about it involved having financial privilege. So if you don't have any money, you ain't meant to be a citizen. You need to have some money, or your mama need to have some money, or you need to be trying to hump on somebody who has some money who can fund the shit for you, because if you don't have any money, you can't be a citizen. I have no problem with it being a multi-stepped process. I have no problem with it being challenging. I have a problem with it being an impossibility, damn near. And I have a problem with it only being for the wealthy. Those are the things I resented in the little bit I did gather from what I read. You know, they only want you here if you are rich. And really, they want you here if you are white. So, you know, it was gross. It made me mad. And like I said, I didn't even understand the full process. And by the end, I just gave up. I still don't understand what the process is. I feel like there should be, obviously, immigration reform is an ongoing issue and discussion with our lawmakers, but I don't know why it's so difficult to streamline and make sense of it. Um, but I know the goal really is to help everybody. So I guess that's why they pretend like it's possible. It's not that it is. They don't want it, and they don't care. So, anyway,
Yeah. Oh, terrible.
my heart
And it
goes
makes
out
me angry. Yeah.
because that level of anxiety and that
Ugh.
and that fear and the fear before even the end of these 6 months, the not knowing what's going to happen in 6 months. But idea of being fucked with in the next 6 months by just whoever, people on the street, people on your job, your neighbors, all of a sudden, I wonder if so and so's undocumented. You know,
Mm.
so and so looks too brown, so and so's accent, or so and so's parents' accent a little thick. I wonder if he or she is undocumented. And I wonder what these people will have to endure in addition to their anxiety over these next several months. Because people are going to come out with the tiki torches on them.
Well, I think that had been happening already. You know, undocumented.
Yeah, I mean, there are Joe Arpaio's everywhere, but
yeah. But I agree, it's going to be worse now, probably.
Yeah, and I think people are going to suddenly feel super justified in their treatment or mistreatment of those people because they'll feel like they have the law on their side.
That's why in 6 months, Donald Trump's going to send you back to the fucking country you came from.
Exactly.
We're going to start seeing those videos.
Yep, you are. Yep, that's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I mean, obviously, none of us have any solution, and I'm not a lawmaker. I just know somebody needs to make it right, and left the hell alone. So, I did not prepare a shout out, which I just realized about 6 seconds before I started this sentence. Yeah, I got nothing. So I guess I'm just gonna shout out the dreamers.
Yeah.
I don't know what I mean. I don't know what my regular working class ass do, but I'm at least not gonna stop speaking about y'all and saying how wrong I think this is, saying how much bullshit it is, and I guess that's the only power I have. I'm gonna hit up my local people on their website and like, listen, I know you better try to figure something out, and I better see that because I voted for you, so don't disappoint. And maybe hit up my local people as well, and just be like, I better not hear anything about you messing with children in classrooms or anything like that. Furniture, baby death.
I'm wondering if our status as a sanctuary city will make a difference in this case, if they can stay here and, nobody will bother them, maybe, or if 45 is going to come up with some old, because I know he, of course, takes issue with sanctuary cities. I wonder if he's going to come up with some kind of nonsense that makes whoever able to come into sanctuary cities and snatch up people like they want to do and do whatever they want to do. I mean, I hope that isn't the case, but I'm interested in seeing how that develops going further. And I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, and I think it's important for everyone, if you are in a sanctuary city, if you live in a sanctuary city, to call and make sure that your city government knows that you are in favor of it and you insist on it. And if you don't, you should be calling to request it, you know?
Yep.
Yep.
So, AM, do you have a shout out?
I do. I actually was going to, I had one, but then I was thinking, shout outs to all of the people whose livelihoods and lives as they know it are now in jeopardy. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in that space. I hope and pray that things are resolved in a way that allows them to continue their lives as they know it. But, I just hope that they do whatever it is they need to do and ideally come together, right? And support each other in this time and hopefully make it through this time and come out on the other side as unscathed as possible. My official shout out is to my book club crew. I missed last month because I was with my parents for their anniversary. So this last Sunday felt like the first time in forever. And they're just really it's always a very, well, not always, but 9 times out of 10, a very soulful, and I mean that literally, experience with them. And we had a really, really good, connective, supportive, somewhat emotional time Sunday. So we ain't reading no books anymore. I don't even know why we call ourselves a book club. It's more like a sister circle. But shout outs to them just for being dope and warm and like home to me. It was good times. Shout outs to my girls.
Great. It was something like that when I started a book club. I think we read one book.
Girl.
After that, that basically went around town wrecking shit.
See?
Story for a different day when we were thugging instead of reading. But anyway.
Nah, these Negroes, I wish it was that. Nah, now we all got to talk about, like this time, the assignment was heart, head, and hands. We had to watch the TED Talk and then talk about what do you know with your head? Like, what do you know? What are you passionate about? What do you know a lot about? What are you passionate about? That's your heart, your hands. What are you good at? Man, these are all Black women. Sometimes it's very difficult for us to sit and talk ourselves up, right?
Sure.
Everybody was like, well, at first, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was just really, but I was like, man, I is reading books. Y'all heifers didn't want to read a book. I take a book over this doggone homework and whatnot that y'all be giving us and nonsense and shenanigans. Dude. But yeah.
Well, listen, y'all need to get pepped up and self-confident because, as in all other things, Black women are going to have to lead the way out of this crap. So you guys need to get ready.
The fact.
They never lied.
The fact.
You ain't never lied, man. I guess we better start strategizing. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, coming up with an evacuation plan or what, get the fuck up out of here because God dang.
Where's the drinking gourd for us to follow? Right?
Babies for each arm. Even babies, you ain't got no babies. We calling babies out and shit on our heads and furniture on our back, man.
Ma'am, you cannot bring your house on the Underground Railroad.
Yes, I can.
I'll pack it up in this backpack.
My grandmama ship a road. Get on out of here.
Oh, not the Davenport. But anyway,
that's yours.
Prince, have a shout out?
I do, but I'm going to ask for a little self-indulgence in the spirit of sort of what we just talked about and kind of what my low was. I'm shouting out June Jordan, and as you know, I love June Jordan in many ways, but Poem About My Rights is one that I come back to again and again and again. And I just want to read the last stanza because hopefully it will bring someone else a little reminder. By the way, if you're out there and you've not read this poem, you've got to read it. I know it's dense. I know there are a lot of pieces that are political, but there's so much that you will very easily understand, and there's no doubt about. So, this is the very end, and it is, I am not wrong. Wrong is not my name. My name is my own, my own, my own. And I can't tell you who the hell set things up like this, but I can tell you that from now on, my resistance, my simple and daily and nightly self-determination may very well cost you your life.
Might have to your ass out.
Hey,
I just might.
I love it.
Might want to one eye.
Mm.
Anyway,
I felt that in my soul, friend.
You have got to read it. It is read it.
I'm consulting the Googles as we speak. Yes, I am.
In the meantime, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tackling Tomfoolery. I am Malika Rogers.
I'm June Jordan. No, I'm kidding. I'm Francie Moore.
And I'm A.M. Lewis.
Bye.
Y'all stay black now.
Unless you aren't. Oh.
Well, you know, y'all can try. Sorry, Bren.
Tackling Tomfoolery is produced by Bren Inman for Evergreen Talent Collective. For more information, find us on the web at www.tacklingtomfoolery.com, on Facebook at Tackling Tomfoolery, and on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, and make sure you rate and review the show, as that helps people find us. If you'd like to contact the show, email us at tacklingtomfoolery@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 916-573-1065. Let us know what tomfoolery you're tackling. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.